say welcome to the Black Friday version of Foresight TV. Dean, thank you very much for starting us off with a little piano. I know you're going to give us some more. Why don't you come join us for some conversation first?
Okay.
And I had a little bit of a technology thing. I accidentally deleted this thing from a Facebook account, and it's back up, and I think we're running in all three places now. We do know that most of you are likely to be watching through LinkedIn, and I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. We're going to have a little serious conversation. We're going to have a little bit of light stuff today. We have a little visit with Dr. Fauci, or at least somebody who sounds a bit like Dr. Fauci. I'm not sure it's quite the real thing, but this original composition that Dean put together is amazing. So, Dean, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, and then let's actually jump right into the 12 days of COVID.
Sure. Well, I am Dean Soldan. I live here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I've been in senior health care for 30 years, and I've been a professional musician for over 50 years since I've been a kid. And I've always incorporated music into everything I do in life. I'm a professional musician, so I've gigged around the world and the country, but I've had special enjoyment putting music into senior communities, both obviously entertaining residents, but also I've made music videos to try to communicate to staff. We did a music video on the COVID, getting them to wash their hands, and we did a hip hop sort of R&B video. So I found I've used music through to help with census and to do activities throughout the community, and but it's just helped in every aspect of my business career. So I've been very fortunate to be able to mix both of my passions.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, and in fact, you did some music for us when we did our Time to Shine conference earlier in the year, and it's the first time I actually had a song made about me. I actually need to figure out how to get just that. I may have to ask you to record that for me because it was pretty cool. Or maybe you should do a theme song for Foresight TV or something for us. That would be pretty neat to do.
I'd be happy to. But music and dance are two of the greatest human activities, period. So the more music and dance you have in your senior communities, really the better everyone's life is.
So it's interesting you say that. One of the stories that was gifted to me by Lisa Shelton, who's a leader in the senior living industry, is about how the power of music and dance in the world of dementia. And I'm not going to retell that story here. But just this morning, or maybe it was last night, I was paging through either Facebook or LinkedIn, and somebody posted this story. I think it was out of a book about a guy who had his mother on a commercial airline flight who had dementia, and he was bringing her home. And when they landed, they were unable. The woman was just so discombobulated and was frightened of getting off of the crowds, and she didn't know what to do to get off the airplane. And somehow the flight attendant was aware that she had been a dancer, and so he came up to her and he leaned for the back seat where she was and said, "Mabel, I'm missing my wife for 3 days, and I don't have any but a dance partner. Would you dance for me?" And she got this big smile on her face, and she stood up out of her chair, and she and the flight attendant, male flight attendant, danced it all the way up the aisle of the airplane and made it off. And it was just a successful way of doing that. And so the power of music is amazing. I just wish I had a little bit of your talent. Sean, thank you. Yeah, cool hat, jacket. I got one more quick story. I went out yesterday. Actually, I got this brainstorm on Wednesday afternoon that I should go out and honor some manager of the day on Thursday. So I went and spent a couple $100, bought 10 boxes of See's candy on Wednesday afternoon. And Thursday, I went out and randomly called on 10 senior living communities in my area here in Sacramento. and handed out boxes of See's candy and a book and said, thanks for doing what you're doing. And so I wore this outfit. I was going to put my green screen background on, but it looked really weird with a jacket. So let's start out, Dean, with the 12 days of Fauci. Technology is a little still weird here, so let's see if we can make this work. And I've got to find the right tab. There we go. Share audio, click that button, and here we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Tony Fauci. Great to be here. Dean was nice enough to invite me, and Dean and Sari, and write a song. He wrote a song about me. No one's ever written a song about me before. So he invited me to play it. I've been under so much stress that I thought I'd join him. Here we go, Dean. We starting now?
Yeah, we're about to start, Dr. Fauci. Okay, here we go. On the first week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me,
My turn now. We're going to have to stay at home a while. That was fun.
Okay. On the second week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, wash your hands a lot, and
I got it now, yeah. We're going to have to stay at home a while. I kind of like this. This is fun. Better than what I do every day.
On the third week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, stay 6 feet apart.
That's right.
Wash your hands a lot.
Yes. And I got it. We're going to have to stay at home quite a while. The trials are showing that now. The statistics are showing that.
Okay, you don't have to get that much detail.
That's very good. How do you play like that? Okay, you can show me later.
On the fourth week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, keep away from crowds, stay 6 feet apart, wash your hands a lot.
I'll take it. And we're going to have to stay at home a while. I really like it when you play like that.
On the fifth week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me,
I'll take this one, okay. Please wear your mask.
The New York is a hotspot. Dr. Birch agrees we're not flattening the curve, so we're
going to have to stay home quite a while now. It's going to be a long time, I'm sorry to say.
On the sixth week of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me,
outside's better than inside. And please wear your mask.
Keep away from crowds, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands a lot.
Or we're going to have to stay at home until your son graduates from virtual high school, which I'm not sure you're very happy about. Oh God, I'm getting so tired.
On the seventh week of COVID, Dr. Fauci admitted to me,
we're opening up too soon.
Outside's better than inside.
And I'm pleading with you, please wear your mask.
The South is now a hotspot. Dr. Birch agrees we're not flattening the curve.
Oh, we're going to have to stay at home until the levels reach at least 10,000 a day. We're like up to 80 or 90 a day now, maybe 100. I don't know. My God, I don't know. I can take it anymore.
Okay. On the 8th time and 4th month of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me,
I'm worried about the schools.
we're opening up too soon. Outside's better than inside. And I'm begging you, please wear your mask. And keep away from crowds. Stay 6
6 feet apart and wash your hands a lot. Oh, we're going to have to stay at home. Okay, Dr. Fauci, I need something optimistic. Why don't you play a little bit? You play. Oh, yeah, I like that. How long did it take you to play like that? How long did you go to? Oh, I guess about the same amount of time. Okay. I need something optimistic. Okay. On the 9th time and 5th month of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, I'm cautiously optimistic about the vaccine. But I'm worried about the schools we're opening up too soon. Outside's better than inside. And please don't go to football again. The Midwest is now a hotspot. Dr. Birch agrees. We're not flattening the curve, so we're going to have to stay home a long time. Oh, I'm so tired. On the 10th time in 6 months of COVID, Dr. Fauci admitted to me, we're doing worse than anyone in the world. But I'm optimistic about a vaccine. I'm worried about the schools we're opening up. The outside is better than inside. And half the country's not wearing a mask. Please keep away from crowds. Stay 6 feet apart and wash your hands a lot. Or we're gonna have to stay at home until your kids spend their entire elementary school education at home. On the 11th time and 7th month of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, the winter's gonna be bad. We're the worst in the world. I'm optimistic about a vaccine. I'm worried about the schools we're opening up too soon. Outside better than inside. Where the hell is Dr. Bird? The whole country's now a hotspot. We're having a third wave. We're increasing the curve. So we're gonna have to stay at home quite a while. Maybe until 2022. I don't know. Okay, finally, let's wrap this up. Okay. On the 12th time and 8th month of COVID, Dr. Fauci said to me, herd immunity won't work. It's a terrible idea. But we're the worst in the world. I'm optimistic about a vaccine. I'm worried about the schools we're opening up too soon. Outside's better than inside. I can't take it anymore. Where you Stay away from crowds. We're doing this together, right? Stay 6 feet apart. Wash your hands a lot. Oh, we're gonna have to stay at home. Until your 25-year-old daughter who's living upstairs in his room, dating some kind of dating site, has cyber sex. Somehow they get married and they have Zoom children, and a year from now you have grandchildren, and then finally, even then, we're still gonna have to stay at home. Not until they pass the clinical trials. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Anthony Fauci, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. Let's hear it. Hey, do you think I look like John Lennon in these glasses?
That was fantastic. So I got a question to ask you though. Do you let me just change my view up here a little bit. Does it weird when you watch yourself on TV like that when you've been recorded?
Yeah, it is. Now, on your version, was the audio synced up to the video or was it a little off?
Mine was actually pretty good. Was yours off?
Mine was way off a couple of seconds, so some of the viewers may not have synced it up. So, but
well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will load just that recording into YouTube for the viewers so they can watch that. Now, I actually had one other request, and I don't know whether you've got this available or not. In fact, I'm going to put request up on the screen so you can see it. But do you have the lyrics written out in a way that we could share them and residents could do a sing along with you?
Yes, I do.
So what
I
we'll
do.
do is we'll create a PDF or something, and we'll put it in the show notes afterward. Allow you to be able to do that. But that was just a great thing to do. That's of course I got to see it in advance. So even watching it like the third time is just a huge delight for me. And each time I notice something new on it. So let's actually talk a little bit about, so you're an owner operator, right?
Yes.
And so what are your sort of takeaways we're almost done with 2020. We got a little bit of your takeaway in the music, but so what is your thinking?
Well, my thinking in terms of COVID, like everyone else, I'm hoping we get this vaccine as soon as we can. And from everything we hear, the senior communities are supposed to, and the healthcare workers are supposed to get it first. So, the light shining brighter at the end of the tunnel, another month or two, and I'm hoping we get this vaccine. Now that's going to be a big deal. On the other hand, the rest of the country it's going to take almost the entire year to roll it out. So I'm sure, based state on state, our governors are still going to have us on certain restrictions. I don't see full visitation rights for at least 3 to 6 months. So in the meanwhile, we've got to do everything we can to let our residents have as much life as they possibly have, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's one of the areas I've spent a lot of time thinking about. It was interesting as I dropped off this candy yesterday, and most of the buildings I was outside, and some of them I couldn't really see inside, but a couple of them I had to go in to have any actual interaction. And I was surprised a little bit at how vibrant it was, and frankly, quite encouraged. I worry that we are going overboard in protecting our residents when the residents have already been isolated a lot, and that it's going to do damage from a socialization standpoint on that. And I know a lot of times it's a regulatory thing that the communities don't have a lot of control. But any thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, we're in Michigan here, and right now the orders are we can have limited socialization. So for the first half of the pandemic, 3-4 months, everyone had to stay in their room. Basically, there was no social dining, no social activity. Now there is limited, and so you're supposed to, when there's social dining, you have to keep 6 feet apart, and obviously when there's activity. So I think everyone is sort of limiting the activity, and you have to do what's right for your community. I mean, if there's a hot spot in your community, whether the governors tell you or not, I think people should take pretty serious precaution and keep people in their rooms as much as possible. Now, using technology to give them as much entertainment and communication as possible is the key. I mean, I think one thing we've learned on this is that every single resident needs to have some device, and sometimes it can be your television set, to easily communicate and easily have entertainment. And we've just got to make that happen across the board.
Yep.
That is so important. But at the same time, there's the balance of social interaction. But remember, our staff is going in and out, and we don't have complete control of what they're doing in their lives when they come back.
That's right.
And that's where the bubble bursts. But if you can have your staff really educated and committed to not socializing as little as possible and staying in their little bubble, then you can almost create your own bubble and loosen up just a bit. But you got to be creative. A lot of outdoor activities as much as possible, especially in the warmer weather. And again, a lot of electronic entertainment and communication. I mean, key.
Yep, absolutely. So you got some more tunes for us?
Sure.
Got a maybe? How about go ahead.
This will be live. This will be live here.
That's all good. That'll be good. That was terrific. So I want to put a comment up here, and then I've got a couple of other little video clips I want to do with folks. There are going to be psychological secondary effects from isolation, loneliness, and wondering if communities are leaning on social workers for mental well-being. I'm not. That's a really good question, and frankly, I don't know what the answer is. I think that people are really struggling and kind of more hoping for the best and doing the things that Dean talked about of figuring out how you can at least provide some interaction. And I do know there are a number of communities who are doing some Zoom chats and those kinds of things, like kind of a lot of us are doing at home.
Well, some communities in assisted living have social workers and some don't. The larger ones tend to have more access to social workers. Obviously, if someone gets depressed, clinically depressed, no question they should get some help. I have a feeling in most communities, the executive staff that are pseudo social workers. So your nurses and your life enrichment people and your sales and marketing and your directors, we're all pseudo social workers. And I actually happen to be married to a psychotherapist. So I have a few mini psychological skills I can use. But I think, it's funny, before assisted living got as even professional as it is, what we did for social work was TLC and tender loving care and wonderful, good-hearted nurses and caregivers took care of people and still do like their own family. So I think most of the people who work in senior living are loving, caring people, and we just have to be human to each other. But when we get a little too much depression, I feel our job is we're the anti-depression police. And when there's too much depression, you definitely need some professional help. And quite a few of our communities, we have relationships with local universities, and we have their social work students come and do their interning there. And that's a great help as well.
Cool. So I asked a couple of my team members at Senior Living Foresight to do a couple of greetings and share one with many of you have read the work that Jack Cumming does. He's a resident in the senior living community, and so he recorded for us earlier this week. And so let me see if I can bring up that share. And there we go. I understand that. I blew it. That we got no sound out of that. So I apologize that I'm going to repost that. I want to keep going. I think I know what I did wrong, and I just hate it when that happens. So, Dean, what I'd like to do is, you got one more tune for us?
Sure, sure.
And then I've got one more recording, and I think I can get that one better.
I'm going to go out on some Mozart.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I'm going to try sharing one more video with one of our team members, Sue Saldivar, and I think I figure out what I did wrong to make this work. So let's see what we can do, and then we'll have some final closing conversation. And we need to do that and that.
Hi, everyone. Sue Saldivar here. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to everybody. What am I thankful for? I think first and foremost is having family up on roof and reconnecting. Having my 27-year-old daughter with us has been just absolutely such a blessing. and I understand that a lot of people out there are in different places right now, a very challenging Thanksgiving for so many of us. But I also want to thank you, Steve Moran, because you got me into this industry in the first place. And as a writer and connecting with people every day who are working and living in senior living, that might be the greatest blessing of them all. It is so challenging right now for so many people, but I'm proud and blessed to be a part of all of this. So let's look forward to 2021. Keep the faith. Let's get through this and look forward to better things to come for our industry and for everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Well, we are just about out of time here, Dean. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas. And since somebody mentioned my wardrobe, this came from, I think, some closeout rack for about $5 last year. And my wife looked at it and said, that looks just like Steve, which I suppose it does.
Well, Steve, I want to echo what she just said, and I want to thank you. You've been supportive of me and my music and my career, and you've been one of the out of the box persons in senior care who is doing, senior living foresight and now this TV show. And we need creative, innovative people in this industry because it's going to keep changing a lot. And I think COVID's going to help it change even more. And your voice is a very important voice, and you motivate others to be creative and innovative and make the senior care world as good as it can be in this century. So thank you.
Thank you, Dean, for those kind words. I describe myself often as a senior living shill. I believe in what we do. I believe that living in a congregate setting for older people is the way they can have their best chapters of their lives. There's no question about that. And but that doesn't mean there are not a lot of areas that we can get better. And I think out of the tragedy of COVID, where we're seeing declining occupancy, and we've seen some pockets where there have been, frankly, more deaths than there should have been, and more infections than there should have been. Some of which, I want to be very careful here. It's easy to blame the operators, and I think in some cases there have been some bad operators out there. I think that that's really clear, but a lot of it is because of regulations and lack of PPE, and we've learned some things that we're a lot more vulnerable than we are. And yet for all of that, I still think that ultimately the community and the social interaction that is created in senior living is way better and gives older people the best possible chance of living their last chapters. And so this is all about looking forward and saying, how do we get better? Dean, I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the music, of course, which is sort of the obvious, but your wisdom and your encouragement has been so powerful. And I just want to say to all of you out there who are regular readers and watchers and commenters, your support just means so much. It lets us know that we're doing the right thing. And if you think we're saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing, we really want to hear about that, because that's what helps us get better. As much as I love the words of encouragement, I actually, even though it kind of hurts, I love the words of, well, I don't think you got it quite right stuff, because it helps us think about things. So, Dean, happy holidays. Thanks for doing the music.
Happy holiday to everyone out there.
And we will get this. This will be available. The recording of the entire interview will be up, but we'll also put up just the 12 weeks of COVID or 2020. And we're looking forward to, we will see a radically different and a radically better next year in 2021. I'm confident of that for all of us. So
I am.
Thank you very much.
Happy holidays, everyone.